Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Skull Session Recruiting Podcast Signing Day episodes. We are doing our Signing Day 2023 series. We are looking at every prospect the Buckeyes sign here on Wednesday and kind of talking about their high school careers and maybe looking forward to what they can provide the Buckeyes moving forward. This is going to be a very popular episode, I think. We are talking about five-star quarterback Air Noland out of Langston Hughes High School, just outside of Atlanta. Big time player, one that's really captivated, I think, the hearts and minds of the Ohio State fan base during the recruiting process. A guy that was very popular among Ohio State fans. He's now been signed. We'll be heading early to Columbus. We'll be seeing him in Columbus in January. So he'll get a good head start on his college career. Look, there wasn't a lot of drama here. I know people tried to rile up some stuff late on various schools, especially Georgia, and kind of what their quarterback carousel has been looking like recently. And but this was a low drama recruitment, really. They got the commitment, and there was never anything that would have indicated that he was considering flipping. He had to come out a few times and put some stuff to bed, but not a guy that ever really wavered with his commitment to Ohio State. But, Kevin, another year, another five-star recruit at quarterback for Ryan Day in Ohio State. Quarterback's been an interesting topic of discussion around Columbus the last few months. Just feels good, I guess, for the Buckeyes to get another five-star guy in the pipeline to continue to drive the competition as they try and figure out, what their quarterback situation is looking like the next year or two.
Well, and that's the thing is, what is a quarterback situation going to look like the next couple of years? You got Air Noland, who's going to be enrolling in January, as you mentioned. You have Devin Brown. You have Lincoln Keenholz. I mean, those are your three scholarship quarterbacks that are going to be going into spring, barring going into the portal. And we can talk about portal ramifications at another time. With Air Noland, you get a really good-looking left-handed thrower who's able to make a lot of throws. I mean, he's playing against really great competition there in Georgia at Langston Hughes in the greater Atlanta area, program that produced Jelani Thurman, current Ohio State tight end. I think that people just wanted to see if there was going to be any drama in this one, because recruiting is not without its own drama. But, I think this is going to be somebody that fans are really going to be excited about just for all the aspects of Noland's game. But I remind people, he's going to be a babe in the woods at this point. He's going to be a young pup who's going to be drinking from a fire hose as soon as he gets to Ohio State. And, people will get the opportunity to certainly see Brown and probably Keenholz both in the Cotton Bowl, and will come to their conclusion if they think either of them should be the quarterback or if Ohio State should just do the unthought of and make a true freshman the quarterback. Well, I just warn everybody, there's a lot to that.
Yeah, I think this is a great situation for both Ohio State and for Air Noland. I think clearly coming in, he's going to want to prove himself, but at the same time, I don't think Ohio State's got any expectations for him next fall. I think he's going to get to settle in, learn the offense, work on all the things Ohio State's going to want him to work on, probably more mentally than physically at this point. The thing I like about him, there's a lot of things I like about him, but one of the things I like about him from a kind of a tangible perspective is this is a guy who's made multiple deep playoff runs. He's won a state championship. He has thrown the football probably over 1,000 times by now at the high school level. He's got a lot of reps. So this is not someone who's coming in from an offense where he handed the ball off 40 times a game and, they let him throw off a play action here and there. I mean, we've seen guys like that get to college and it just takes them a while to get up to speed. This is a guy who's used to slinging it around. The left-handed thing is a little interesting to me. I think that was maybe something early on that Ohio State was like, well, how does this work? We've only ever had the righties and, can we, but essentially it's all the same. It's kind of flipped a little bit, but that was cleared up. They've seen him throw. This was a really a huge get for them at a time when they weren't sure what was going on after they lose Dylan Raiola early in the process. And, they had just started to build this relationship with Air Noland, and they're fighting Texas A&M and some other big name, Alabama, some other big name programs for him. And So this was a just a really opportunistic pickup for them. Whenever you can replace a 5-star with a 5-star, that's a tough thing to do. That's a great thing to be able to do, but it's not always easy. When you lose a 5-star, it's really hard to go out and just get another 5-star replacement. So I wouldn't take that for granted here. If you're an Ohio State fan, this was a huge pickup for them. Another thing, and we've gotten to spend, we've seen him throw a bunch. We've both seen him throw multiple times in camp settings. You got to watch a spring game in the spring. I got to watch a game in the fall, which is where that video that you guys have been watching is from, was some game film. So we've seen a lot of him. We spent a lot of time around him. I like the way he carries himself. To me, I mean, you've talked to him as well. It just feels like a guy who is maybe meant to be a leader in the locker room.
Yeah, he has a sense of confidence around him, and it can be contagious. You sometimes see the guy that is the leader because that's just what's expected of them. I think with Air Noland, he's somebody who can come in and read the room. Is like, all right, somebody needs to step up and get everybody going in the right direction. I can do it. I've enjoyed the conversations I've had with him, talking to him about football and life and everything else that during the course of covering him at camps and such. And I think that he's going to have a really engaging personality that people are going to be drawn to. I think he's going to be somebody that could help Ohio State in terms of recruiting, especially in Georgia, especially if he gets a little bit of a taste of some action early in his career. I mean, I'm not putting all the weight of the world on him saying that he needs to start games as a true freshman, but I think that he's somebody that people gravitate towards.
He's got a maturity to him. For me, just it does remind me a little bit of Jalen Hurts, just kind of the maturity and the competitive aspect he brings. It's not necessarily always a like super fiery thing. It's just more of a mature, calm leadership, can say the right thing at the right moment type of guy. I've always really liked that about him. The arm talent is tremendous. For me, I love watching him throw the deep ball. I think he's got a great touch on the deep ball, but he's got a strong arm. We saw him at Elite 11 kind of be a regional MVP at a loaded Atlanta Elite 11. So he's an accurate thrower. It always looks a little different to me watching a lefty, but there's really nothing to pick at. I think we talk about with lefties is kind of like long deliveries they seem to have, but he doesn't seem to have that. He seems to have a pretty short, tight delivery. So, I think this is a huge get for Ohio State. Obviously, a 5-star kid on some of the services. And this is a guy who just impressed me every time I watched him. I never came away thinking, oh, man, just didn't play very well tonight or whatever. Even the game I was at probably wasn't one of his better games of the season, but I still left that game thinking, yeah, this is their guy. Like, this has to be your guy. And just the things he's able to do physically. I know Ohio State fans want to know about the running ability. Well, look, is he an athlete? Yes. Is he always going to be a guy who looks to make a play first with his arm? Also, yes. He's not a one read and take off and run guy. He wants to make plays with his arm, but he is capable of moving the sticks with his legs as well.
Right. I mean, people, we can't believe it's as far back as it is, but Troy Smith wanted to sit there and make plays with his arm. I mean, he would have to make plays with his legs too, but I mean, he was somebody who would sit there and rather throw it 20 yards than run it 20 yards. And I think that you can see some of that as well out of Air Noland. I saw him, as you mentioned, during his spring game. It looked like a spring game at that point. He only played half. I mean, you know how those go. I mean, even though they were playing against another team, it was also controlled or whatever. And then once I watched the footage that you had posted from in the season, I'm like, there it is again. That's what I remembered seeing at Elite 11, seeing him compete against Juju Lewis from Carrollton, class of 26, against Jaden Davis, who's going to Michigan, and have him come out and really be the top guy in that camp. So there, the talent is there. I think that the football smarts are there, but there's still a lot that it takes to put, the arm talent to the football smarts to put it all together. So people need to have a little bit of patience because remember, he's just going to be a true freshman.
Yep. I think, it's understandable why people like him. He's very talented. He's a very likable person, and it's understandable why people are excited. But yeah, this is one of those like, okay, like let's let him learn the offense. Let's let him come in and, get used to everything, and probably see you in 2025, maybe see you in some mop-up duty in 2024 if everything goes well with some of the overmatched opponents. But it's a guy who's going to need a year to build himself up, and Ohio State doesn't need him to help them next year, hopefully, or else they're going to have that'd be quite an injury rush, I think, if that happened. But so get excited, get to see him in the spring game because he'll get to play there. He's coming in early. You'll get to see him maybe in some mop-up duty, but this is a guy that they're very excited about, but it's going to take a year or two, as most young quarterbacks will. So big time leader, one of the leaders of the class, in the fold. So it's official. He's signed. Get excited. And we'll catch you here on these other ones. So we got a bunch of these coming. Like I said, every player is going to have one. We'll release them as the kids sign. So stay here at youtube.com/Buckeye Huddle. Or if you just prefer to listen to us, you can get us on any of your podcast platforms of choice. Just search Buckeye Huddle podcasts or Skull Session podcasts. Should bring it up for you. But appreciate everyone watching and listening, and we'll be right back with another one of these.